Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Talking Point with me, Papri. Today we get to chat up Cyrus Oshidar, who is touted as one of the 10 most influential people in Indian advertising industry. He gave MTV India its iconic brand image before donning several other creatively challenging roles, and now he's all set to take the nation's youth by storm with his new creative venture, 101 India. Let's have a chat with him. Welcome to our show.
Hi.
What is 101 India all about?
101 India is youth content portal, whatever that means. But it's a digital content platform on which you get a mixed bag of what we'd like to think of as quality content, a mix of video, listicles, the written word, across love, sex, travel, humor, all the things that young Indians are interested in.
Okay.
We hope.
So the target is youth.
It is youth. It's I would say it's not sort of 14 to 21. It's more 21 to 25. It's probably late college or just into the first job. It's mainly urban, educated, smart young persons kind of a website.
Whose stories are you showcasing through 101 India?
Many. We're doing lots of subculture, counterculture. For example, on the site right now is a story of one of India's leading BMX flatlanders. There's a series of videos coming up on hip hop. It's called 101 Hip Hop. So fundamentally it looks at female rappers, young male rappers, and the growth of hip hop across large towns, small towns. So we call ourselves storytellers for this generation and for a new India. And that's really the format. It's a storytelling narrative across people, love, even humor. So in the humor space, we have interesting characters. There's a Aunt Heather, who's a sort of older lady from Bandra who talks about what's happening in the news, and she's part of what we call the BBC jokingly, which is the Bandra Broadcasting.
Coming from your background, why did you choose just specifically digital?
See, digital is a pipe. It's nothing else. It's just another medium. So we still shoot in video. In fact, it's more difficult because we're going to do, we do written words. We do a sort of urban journalism. So for us, it's more of a challenge because we're not used to that kind of thing. We're so used to video. So actually, it's trickier in many ways because also the way people consume content, it's consumed in many forms: cheap video, expensive video. People watch dancing cats and dogs on YouTube, and they also watch the Game of Thrones. So, whether you have singing babies, what else there's a multiplicity of content, and digital for me is just a platform. It's just a tube. It's not really anything new, and the stuff we do could easily find its way onto many sort of youth channels. But there are different formats and different ways to approach it, which are less television.
Yeah. There are other digital portals as well who are also trying to tap into these urban stories. But what is different about 101 India?
Well, I don't know how many there are tapping into urban stories. There are a few. As I said, we offer content across video and the written word and other formats. There's animation. There's many things. So we offer multiplicity. In terms of the urban stories, there's a degree of journalism that creeps in, which is slightly different to what we're used to. So, for example, my experience at MTV, it was more about humor and reality shows, whereas this is not really that kind of an offering. It's more about people. So, for example, as I said, there's a whole bunch of counterculture and subculture stories about interesting things young people are doing. There's also a bunch of stories about just amazing things that happen in India. We're covering a story just now about a guy in 2 hours out of Delhi who's built his own little Taj Mahal for his wife. So, I mean, although he's an older guy and it's not really young in that sense, it's still a love story, and a love story is universal. So we think, he was an interesting subject. So we're going and telling that story. So we don't do Bollywood, we don't do gossip, we don't do that. We don't do that kind of stuff. We do the fringes, we do stuff that's around it. And I would say we're much more left of center, whatever that means. But it's not the mainstream.
From your own perspective, trying new different things gets you going?
Yeah, I think anything. I mean, I live in India because it's a series of contradictions that bump into each other every day. So for me personally, it's stimulus. I like the fact that we live in a country that has 150 different kinds of people, and in the same way, I like my work to be as varied as it possibly can be. So I don't think I've stuck in a job for more than 4 years. I think MTV was the longest. I think it was 12 years. and I don't think that's going to happen again. So yes, I do like to move.
After 4 years, I'll be finding you in a different place and I'll be
No, this one, I'm invested in this one a little bit more, and I'm invested in its success a little bit more. So I need to make sure that this works first before jumping ship.
Are you following the kind of stuff which MTV is doing right now? Are you happy with it?
MTV is in my history. I can never shake the label. But I sort of got, to be honest, I don't really enjoy the reality show format.
Really?
No, I mean, I know that we brought roadies in and all the rest of it, and so we're responsible. But I can't watch it myself. Maybe I'm past all that. But I personally feel that, there's scope for many different kinds of content offerings, and I think the beauty of digital is that you can provide those in many different ways for multiple audiences. You can do 5 seconds of animation, you can do a mix of animation and fiction. You can really serve up a whole bunch of stuff it doesn't have to be 22 minutes long, it doesn't have to be 1 hour long, it doesn't have to be a 2.5 hour film. It can just be interesting, engaging content that people connect to.
With digital, we also, like you said, it can be short and snappy, but we are also noticing that it can get a little superficial, that people say that sometimes you don't do enough research, you don't go in depth with it. There is less chance of doing that. Would you agree to that?
I think that, having been a part of a wonderful media establishment, I think that's one of the most irresponsible is the mass media, actually. So I don't think digital is any less irresponsible. Discipline, hard work, research, I mean, these are all things that go into making a story. I think as journalists, a certain amount of due diligence is required. I'm not sure we do that across the board. I don't think it's anything to do with YouTube. I think, or the digital medium. And remember, YouTube is not the digital medium. It's much broader. So I think that, cats and babies singing and tap dancing and whatever the hell else is on there, I don't think that requires too much due diligence or S&P, standards and practices, that we go through in television. So yes, in that respect, it's a freer medium, it's a more democratic medium. But I think when you have brands on digital, so whether it's, any other company with their online offering, I think there is a certain amount of S&P that we follow.
Tell me a little bit about how you spend time with your family.
I don't really spend that much time with my family. My elder daughter's in Liverpool studying music at Paul McCartney School. My younger one is the head girl of a school and is very important. So they don't have much time for me because they're either apart or very important. And I work hard right now. We have to get this set up and we have to get it going. And right now I don't spend as much time perhaps as I should with my family.
If I could ask you, who's your inspiration? It could be anyone from the field,
I've
the
never
bygone
really
years.
thought of that. I think, in India we're obsessed with being inspired and, having quotes on our desk and, Steve Jobs is a guru. I mean, they're all gurus. So I think be inspired by everyone, but I think it's difficult. We don't need a guru. I mean, if you follow one guy's teaching, you ignore everybody else's. So how do you know he's the right guy? I mean, it's like being on the internet. You can't see everything. So how do you know? So I'm inspired by many things. I'm inspired by objects. I'm inspired by people. I'm inspired by dead people. I'm inspired by, animals.
One message to the youth and the media enthusiasts.
See, I don't know about all these messages to the youth. We'll leave that to the Prime Minister of this country.
Okay.
I'm not really qualified to give messages to the youth as such. The only message I would give out, if I had to give a message, is what I tell my children, which is just do what you really want to do, because then it's not hard. It's not a job. It's what you love.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for joining
very
us
much.
today.
Pleasure.
Yes.